Hello guys, this is Legendarma TV. It's good to see you. Today, we'll be talking about Nyle in the battle called Clan of Darkness. Now, this battle is going to be quite complex because the mechanics are quite punishing in this raid. So get ready, it's going to be tough. Let's roll. Alright, Nyle requirements. Now, the attack cap for the battle is 39,600, which is 600 more than Caesar. The amount of critical resistance that you will need to critical resist cap him is 200. That's mad. And the amount of critical has made a huge leap, which is now going to be 201 to crit cap him. That's crazy. The amount of counterforce raised as well, just a little bit. It's going to be 160 to deal 100% damage to Nyle. Let's get to the quick battle, and we will see that the amount of power raised as well is 55,100. The amount of technique that you will need is going to be 246, and that's balance plus crit, keep that in mind. And you can join quick battles with only 138 counterforce. But if you remember, always you have to make sure that you always counterforce cap the boss to be able to do 100% of the damage. That's it for the requirements. It's time for the gameplay. Alright, it's time for Nyle. Now, just like Caesar, you will have to go through a pre-dungeon, kill some trash monsters there, and a sub-boss on your way to the main cave where Nyle will be waiting for you. Nyle is a little bit different than the previous bosses that you fought with, mostly because he doesn't use a lot of regular patterns, regular attacks, and his whole battle is centered around two sets of attacks that he does. One of them are red attacks, which are called Dark Shackles, and the other one is white attacks, which are called Ominous Spinning Sword. The whole key thing that is complex about Nyle is that if you get shackled, get hit by the red attacks, you will be shackled, right? And if he hits you with white attacks, the Ominous Spinning Sword, you will be KO'd. And this is the key thing about the whole battle. So he just mixes up his red attacks and white attacks, and you have to be extremely, extremely cautious of all that. Now, let's talk about the red attacks first, the Dark Shackle attacks. Now, Nyle has access to 4 different types of red attacks. Let's look at the first one. I have them all stamped. We're going to slow down and go through them individually. This is the first pattern that he does. He flashes red, always. Whenever he flashes red, that means it's going to be a shackle attack. After a short preparation, he does one hit, right? And then sends these shackles towards you, right over here. You have to dodge and block them. You can always do that. And after a small delay, he releases the shackles around himself, so even if you are behind him, you are not safe. So you have to make sure that you are prepared for this 2 attacks that he does involving shackles with this really tricky and sinister delay. After that, he does a couple of hits after that, but it's nothing really to worry about, right? We're just talking about the second and the third attack that Nyle does with his shackles. Right over here, one in front of him, and then around himself. Now, the next one, the next Dark Shackle pattern, is going to be right over here. It's going to be, if I remember correctly, just a single hit. So there's a little preparation. He throws his hand a little bit and then strikes with the shackles, with these spears, whatever, from his body, and strikes in front of him. So let's watch it again. Right over here, the red sinister aura surrounds him, and then he attacks in front of him with the shackles. So watch out for it. As I said, you can dodge, you can block the shackles, but just make sure you don't get hit by that. The third attack that he does, involving the Dark Shackles, is a quite tricky one, because the timing should be the timing should be perfect here, right? Right over here, after a short preparation, he does an AoE around himself. That is this circle, and if you are inside this circle and you're not dodging or blocking, you're gonna get hit. After that, he releases a couple of homing balls that are coming your way. You don't really need to worry about these dark orbs because they don't shackle you. What shackles you is the initial hit that he does after a short preparation, right over here. Boom. So watch out for that. I would highly recommend, if you don't have a block, just run away from him. Just watch for the startup, watch out for the startup, and whenever it's going, just make sure you keep the distance from him and you will not get hit right there. And the last attack that Nyle does, right over here, after this Vortex that we're gonna talk about a little bit later, this one, right over here, he gains this red aura, right? He will always gain this aura. You will see that the red attacks are coming, the shackle attacks are coming, so you have to be prepared for it. He sends this, he spins around the chains, right? Around himself. So if you're standing in front of him, watch out for that. After that, he does yet another move. So he slides a little bit further on a knee, and then spins them around himself. So that's 2 hits, and then proceeds to hover towards you, spinning his chains once again. This one by far is one of the trickiest ones. The first one and this one, because there is a lot of hits, there are some delays, so you might get caught there. So watch out. As I said, whenever he spins the chains, the first one is in front of him. The second one, after this slide, is around himself, right? And then he just charges towards you. So you have to watch out, just run away from him, or dodge and block, and just make sure you don't get shackled, okay? And this is it. That's all the Nyle Dark Shackle attacks. Now, if you get hit by the Dark Shackles, you're gonna get branded. You're gonna get the infinite debuff that is gonna be on you all the time. And this is where the white attacks are coming into play and become deadly, like completely deadly. Let's look at them. Let's look at the white attacks now. Ominous Spinning Sword. Right over here, this next pattern, there is this little preparation, and then he hits with a sword. It starts spinning, and then he does one single thrust towards him, towards the target. Just watch out for the startup, as always, and make sure you're dodging these white attacks. Now, you see, if you are not shackled, you don't really need to worry about the Ominous Spinning Sword, because it is only punishing if you are shackled. So if you're not shackled, you can actually take a hit, but, you know, at this point, Nyle is quite strong, so you might take a lot of damage from that. But you're not gonna get KO'd, because you haven't been shackled. So this was the first one. Let's get to the next one. He has whooping 5 ominous spinning sword attacks. So let's get through all of them. Now, this one. Short preparation. Again, the sword starts spinning, and after a short delay, he strikes you with 2 thrusts. So you have to make sure you time it well. Just look at the startup. The sword starts spinning, right? So you gotta be ready to dodge or block. Just 2 thrusts right over here. Now, let's watch another ominous spinning sword attack, the white one. Right over here. Another preparation right over here. After that, you can see his sword start glowing white, and he hits you with a single hit right over here. It might look like the same as the first one, but it's not. There is a little difference between them. So once again, he does the preparation. You see the sword spinning and gaining this white aura around it. Watch out. Make sure it doesn't hit you. The next attack, ominous spinning sword attack, right over here. This one is a little bit interesting. So the preparation starts. You see the white sword glowing, and then he charges towards you, and after a short delay, strikes you with a massive strike right over here. This might look like an anti-range, but I doubt it is. But still, it's a white attack, so if you are shackled, you have to make sure that you time it well. Once he's charging and then does the hit, you have to make sure it doesn't hit you. And the last one, the last white attack that Nyle does, right over here. This is more like I would say like a berserk kind of attack, so he gets really angry right over here. A preparation once again. He enchants his sword, it starts spinning, you have time to react to that, and then he hits you 3 times. 3 times. A slash right over here, that might kill you if you're shackled once again. And then yet another slash, and after a little delay, he does it again. Right here. Boom. The thrust. And I got hit, but I wasn't shackled, so I'm not gonna get KO'd, right? Now that we talked about the red attacks, the dark shackles, and the white attacks, ominous spinning sword, let's talk about the KO itself. What is gonna be your reward for screwing this up? Your reward is gonna be this cutscene right over here. If you are shackled by the red attack, boom, he steps and you get destroyed. You get killed, you get KO'd. I'm sorry, but yeah, you have been destroyed by the Silent Brotherhood's leader, Nyle. The KO happens, you die. All the party members will lose their shackle mark once someone gets KO'd, and it's gonna be replaced with the resistance buff. Right over here, you can see it. For 30 seconds. What does it mean? Whenever you have this buff on you, Shackled Resistance, you are immune to the red attacks, to the shackle debuff for 30 seconds. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna not receive damage from the shackle, from the red attacks, but it's not gonna brand you, so you ain't gonna get a debuff. If you die again, however, if you died more than twice and you had this black skull, the buff that you're gonna receive whenever someone gets KO'd is gonna be halved. So it will only last 15 seconds, so keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to start chilling, and just feel like, yo, it's really great, I have the resistance buff, right? You have to stay vigilant, make sure you don't get hit by the red attacks, and if you were unfortunate enough to receive the shackle debuff, make sure you don't get hit by the white attacks, which are ominous spinning sword attacks. Now, let's watch a couple more attacks that Nyle does right over here. One of them is called Dark Vortex, right here. Right over here. The preparation, he starts, the sword starts spinning, he flashes red, and then he thrusts his sword into the ground. Now, what happens here? Whenever keep on attacking Nyle during the startup, right over here, right? But once he puts his sword into the ground, make sure you keep distance from him. Why? Because he's going to start spinning, this vortex around him of chains is going to start spinning around him, and it will start pulling you towards him, so you're going to get dragged. As you can see right over here, I'm getting dragged towards him. If you get dragged inside, 100% chance you're gonna die there. It's almost impossible to get out of there. Now, whenever you get dragged, you're gonna have these black holes are gonna appear, and they're gonna release 3 shockwaves going different directions. So you have to time it well and make sure that you are continuously running away from Nyle, so you don't get dragged into the vortex of chains, and you're blocking and dodging these explosions. So after a little preparation, after a little time, they explode and sends these shockwaves from every character in the party. So it's going to be a lot of AoE going, so watch out for it, okay? There is also such thing in Nile Battle that is called an ultimate Dark Vortex. Now, the ultimate Dark Vortex is pretty much the same, just like the regular Vortex, but it is extended. So the amount of time that you will have to survive this thing is going to be way, way more, way longer. So whenever every party member gets shackled, Nyle goes into this little cutscene right over here. He starts the preparation, the camera focuses on him, and he starts the ultimate Dark Vortex. And I'm not quite sure how long does it last, but it definitely lasts longer than the regular one. And as you can see, we're all getting dragged towards him, towards our death. We all spawn these explosions underneath us, and these shockwaves are going all the ways, and the guys are getting hit there. It's really a chaos. It's frightening, but you have to endure that. You have to endure that, and you have to make sure you don't get dragged inside that vortex, because if you do, you are gonna die like 300 million%. The guys are dying here, obviously, from the shockwaves, because it's really hard to fight against. One of the other patterns that Nyle does, it's probably one of the few that he only does the regular ones, is right over here, the Dark Fissure. So what happens here? So after a little delay, after a little startup, he throws his sword into the ground and releases this shard, this stone shard, that releases a shockwave, right? And it looks like a red one, but you can block and dodge out of it. After that, after a couple of seconds, he then releases a couple of shockwaves coming your way. So just make sure you're ready for them. It looks like a red attack, a shackle attack, Dark Shackles, but it's not, so don't worry about it much, and you will be safe. Continue DPSing Nyle, making sure that you don't get shackled, and if you do get shackled, make sure you don't get hit by the ominous spinning sword, the white attacks, and just eventually you will defeat him, and I really hope, I really hope you are gonna get a Nyle essence that is gonna be really useful for your future earring. So that's all covering Nyle in the battle Clan of Darkness. Now, Nyle is the current and recent boss that is available on North America and Europe servers. So we will have to wait for the next boss that is called Ragnahim. And once he's gonna appear, I'll make sure that we will have a next episode of everything you need to know about. This was Legend Arma TV. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are really amazing, especially when you hit the like and subscribe buttons, joining Discord, stopping by Twitch. I really appreciate all your support, all your feedback. There's going to be more videos coming shortly, so I'll see you there. Be safe. I love you all. See you later.